Today is Hanamatsuri. This is the holiday that celebrates the Buddha's birth. Hana means flower, and Matsuri means festival, which is a reference to the flowers blooming on that auspicious day. It's important for us to recall the story every year so we all remember it as time goes on. It starts with Queen Maya and King Suddhodana, who were the rulers of the Shakya clan. One night, Queen Maya had a dream that a white elephant with 6 tusks holding a lotus in its trunk went around her 3 times and then entered her womb. When she awoke, she told King Suddhodana about the dream, knowing that this elephant was a symbol of greatness. Puzzled, they called in their soothsayers, who told them that the dream meant that they were going to give birth to an unparalleled being. This person would be one of 2 things. If they stayed home, they would become a ruler of many lands. If they left, however, they would become one of the greatest spiritual teachers. 10 months later, Queen Maya felt it was soon time to deliver the baby and started the journey back to her kingdom of her parents, as it was tradition of the Shakya clan for a woman to give birth at her parents' house. On the way, she began to feel the pains of childbirth and stopped at Lumbini's garden. Resting against a tree, she gave birth to a boy. It is said that flowers bloomed and it rained sweet tea. The boy took 7 steps, and in each step there bloomed a white lotus flower. And then the boy pointed to the sky and pointed to the ground and said, "In heaven above and earth below, I alone am the honored one. I shall dispel the sufferings that fill this world." And from this story is where we get the tradition of decorating our Hanamido with flowers and pouring sweet tea over the baby Buddha, who has his hands with one pointing up and one pointing down. We didn't have this year for obvious reasons, but still, the Buddha is our teacher, and everything that we hear about the Buddha is an opportunity to learn. Even in his just being born, the Buddha is trying to teach us something. Isn't that amazing? I want to focus today on the Buddha's first words. Whether or not babies can walk and talk immediately after being born is not what the Buddha is trying to teach us. If you have ever seen a baby, you will know that they do not. The Buddha is trying to teach us something else. And if we research a bit into the origins of what the Buddha said, we find that it's probably a Chinese and Japanese addition to the Buddha's birth story. Well, addition by subtraction, as what is said in the Pali text is that, facing north, he declared he is the first among all living beings. Facing west, he declared that this was his last birth. Facing south, he declared he is chief of the world. Facing east, he declared he will receive the highest nirvana and achieve absolute extinction. Now, I could probably talk at length on any one of those statements, and I know this because I've been practicing talking at length in the lecture series I'm giving. But I want to focus on the idea that he is first, that he is chief in the world, and that he is the most honored one. Now, what could we possibly learn from the Buddha by claiming that he is the best? Is he trying to tell us that we should be chiefs, that we should be chief executive officers? I don't think that's what he's saying, but it doesn't mean that you can't do that. Rather, to understand what he's trying to teach us, we must first reflect on ourselves and see that we are seeing this story from our own very prideful and selfish eyes. The world we exist in and the life that we lead, we constantly think, I'm good, I'm bad, you're better, you're worst, I'm the best, I'm great. But the Buddha is trying to push us to see past these notions. If we truly look within ourselves, we see that all of these rankings and comparisons are just products of our own selfishness and driven by our ego. We create categories in our mind of what makes someone better than another, whether it's money or talent or possessions or followers. Using any of these as a measuring stick is simply arbitrary. At the end of the day, they don't give your life any more sustained meaning or any more lasting happiness. If we put our faith in the Buddhist path and try to see the world through Amida Buddha's eyes, we see that we are all in the same boat. Our families are like others' families. Our friends are like others' friends. Our happiness and our suffering are the same as others' happiness and suffering. When we focus on the me and the you, then we are only hurting ourselves. So then, what is the baby Buddha saying when he says, I am chief of the world, and I alone am the honored one? The Buddha is telling us that, with him as the model, no one is responsible for our own happiness and suffering except for ourselves. We create these distinctions, and so we must eliminate them. We create our own future. We cannot blame anyone else, in heaven or on earth, for our own actions. And what should guide our actions? Believing that the Buddha set out the right path for us, and now recognizing that our happiness is others' happiness, we work to dispel the sufferings that fill this world. So on this Hanamatsuri, I hope we can all take this lesson of the baby Buddha to heart, to look at ourselves and challenge the hierarchies we create, to simply see the people around us as they truly are and to act in the Buddhist way, to try to live in the infinite wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha by getting rid of the sources of suffering of ourselves and of our fellow human beings in whatever capacity that we can. If you could please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman.